Here is my Dexter Season 7, Episode 7 recap. This episode is entitled Chemistry. Now, right before I get into the recap here, I wanted to thank everybody who has supported me up to this point. I appreciate all of the people who have subscribed and are getting the notifications. If you know of anybody who would benefit from watching these recaps prior to New Blood, which is going to start kick off Season 9 in November, please let them know about these recaps. It'll help them get caught up. I do appreciate it. And if you haven't, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell. You will be notified as I have new videos go up. All right, so let's talk about this episode. This episode was very interesting. We have Deborah, who is desperately trying to find out who killed all these people that surround Hannah. She is convinced it is Hannah, but she needs proof. So she actually goes to her last husband, who died of a heart attack, and she wants to exhume the body. So she goes to his sister's house and asks if they can exhume the body. She says, I assume Hannah did the killing. I just need the proof. That's when the sister tells Deborah about a situation she had with Hannah, how Hannah actually ended up pregnant and nobody knew about it until after his death, and that Hannah ended up having a miscarriage right after he passed away. So they're assuming that she never wanted to have a family and she wanted to kill the child, and that's why he was killed. Well, they exhume his body and he's all bones. The body was never embalmed, so they can't get her on that. Well, we've also got this guy, Price, who is writing a book on Hannah. And Deborah is actually dating this guy. He says he has proof that she has killed people. Well, Hannah also knows this. Her and Dexter talk about doing something to get rid of him. And Dexter tells her, because they get together, I talked about that at the end of the last episode. Well, they're together in this, but they have some things they have to work out. Dexter, this goes against everything Dexter has done in the past. She has killed people, innocent people, and he should be taking her out, but he's not doing that in this case. He feels like he may have found true love, someone who can accept him from all sides, not Rita, who was blind to this, not Lumen, who was just his partner and didn't see him as a human being, so just someone who could help her. He goes through this whole thing talking about how this is the person who truly accepts all sides of him. He ends up saying, I will take care of Price. You don't need to worry about him. Well, Hannah ends up taking care of him on her own. She ends up poisoning him. And Price goes to visit Dexter and actually dies in his apartment. And at the same time, Dexter was looking at a way to frame him for some of the murders. Dexter thinks he's probably murdered people based on his book and his research, that with some of the morbid stuff that was in there, Dexter thinks he may have been actually involved in some of the murders that he has actually investigated. And so he ends up dead, and Deborah brings in Hannah into the police department, and Hannah says, I didn't do anything. I didn't even know he was dead. They run the toxicology report twice, and it comes up with nothing. And that's exactly what Hannah told Dexter, is that they're not going to find anything. I expected him to be driving and have a heart attack, or driving and get into a car accident, and it would have been over. It's unfortunate they went to your apartment, but it was taken care of. And so we've got that going on. We also have LaGuerta, who's getting really close to figuring out Dexter is this murderer. She is going through those past cases that I talked about in the last recap. She is now matched Dexter's name to a couple of these locations or associations with these individuals. So she's getting very close to figuring that out. Now, Deborah gets extremely upset that Hannah's going to get away with this after that toxicology report. So she finally calls Dexter at the very end of the episode. Dexter is sleeping with Hannah, and she says, Dexter, she's going to get off. And she's crying. She's like, she's going to get off. She deserves to die. She goes, do you understand what I'm saying? I need you to get involved. And finally gives him the green light to kill somebody, but he can't do it. And so he looks at the camera with this look on his face like, how is this going to play out? We also had a little bit to do with Quinn. Quinn did end up taking the blood so that Isaac would not be caught. Isaac actually he is let out of prison, and he goes to visit Dexter, and they kind of have this cat and mouse conversation. And they basically let each other know this is not going to end until one of us is dead, basically. He got out because the blood was missing, and he also had his team go in and contaminate the scene where he killed all those people. So he got off scot-free and is now out of prison. Well, he's not scot-free. The police are still looking at him. But right now he's out. So we've got 5 episodes left in this season. This is definitely much better than last season. We've got Isaac to deal with. We've got Nadia, Quinn is still not going to be let go by these individuals. And what's interesting is he got 10 grand from them, and he actually gave that money to Batista to start his restaurant, because Batista even asks him about the blood going missing. And he says, I had nothing to do with it, but he feels guilty. So he gives the money that the Russians gave him to Batista to help start his restaurant. So you could tell he feels guilty. So we're going to see where this goes. And Nadia tells him, they've got you under their thumb now. You don't realize what you've done. And he tries to tell her, I did it for you so you could be free. But they're going to have him do some more stuff. So we're going to see where this all leads. We've got Dexter is being hunted. We've got his sister, Deborah, who now wants him to kill. It's just lots of interesting dynamics going on with this particular episode and all of these characters. And LaGuerta's starting to hone in on what's happening. So there's my recap on Dexter Season 7, Episode 7. I'll look for the next recap shortly. We'll see you guys on the next one.